Here's 25 years of brutally honest advice on carnivore in less than 10 minutes. The most common reason that people fail doing the carnivore diet is that they're not actually doing the carnivore diet in the first place. People think that doing the carnivore diet means that they'll eat a lot more meat and this takes care of everything. While meat has all the nutrients that we need, it is not the only factor in optimal health. While you need these essential nutrients in their correct form and proportion, you also need to avoid things that cause harm. A major facet of the carnivore diet is removing all of these things that cause harm. So while people eat a lot more meat and they replace a lot of other things with that meat, and that's good, they won't see the full benefits of a carnivore diet until they get rid of all of those other things. Even dairy can trip people up, especially for weight loss. Dairy has casomorphins that trigger the baby animal to grow and get bigger because babies are vulnerable. So they need some stimulus to tell them to grow big and strong as quickly as possible. When we get these same chemicals in our body, it tells us to grow as well, but we grow out instead of up. So eating milk and dairy products is a classic weight loss stall or even a way to gain weight on a carnivore diet. Also, people think that artificial sweeteners, just because they don't have sugar or calories in them, means that it's okay to eat, but really these are just chemicals. We are not combustion engines. We don't burn our food for energy. We are chemical factories and we use chemicals and they make chemical reactions. When you put stevia in your body, this can lower fertility rate, as shown in animal studies, lowering the fertility rate by 55% compared to controls with just one serving of stevia. This shouldn't surprise anyone because stevia comes from a stevia plant in South America that has been used in South America in places such as Paraguay for over 1,000 years as birth control. So why are we thinking that this is safe to put in the drinking supply? Things like monk fruit sugar, also called erythritol, has been shown in recent studies to have an increased risk of blood clots. Also, even though they're artificial sweeteners, they don't contain carbohydrates, they have been shown in studies to still trigger an insulin response. And insulin is the fat storage hormone, and you can get reactive hypoglycemia as a result. It can also trigger carb cravings. Another reason that people have a hard time could be because they're not eating enough fat. We have been told our entire lives that if you eat fat, you'll get fat, but that simply is not true. Your body has a limited capacity to absorb fat, and after you run out of bile, you will not absorb 90% or more of the fat that you eat. Your body has 5 organs working in concert just to absorb fat. Your stomach starts breaking food down, your liver makes bile, your gallbladder stores it, your pancreas starts making enzymes like lipase to break down the fat, and the bile emulsifies it and it's absorbed by your small intestine. So why would we have 5 organs all working together to absorb fat if fat were bad for us or harmful in some way? Our body knows what it's doing, nature knows what it's doing, biology knows what it's doing. And if our body didn't want that fat and didn't find it beneficial, it would not go to such lengths to absorb it in the first place. So if you undereat fat, you can actually slow down your progress. There are essential nutrients in fat that you cannot find anywhere else. It's not just a calorie source. There's vitamin D3, K2, retinol, vitamin E, DHA, EPA, choline, so many more things that you have to have in order to live and thrive. So reducing your fat not only reduces your energy intake, it also reduces your nutrient intake and you can become malnourished. This in itself can slow down your metabolism because your body feels malnourished and it says, hey, we're in a famine, we need to slow down our metabolism and ramp down our biological processes so that we don't run out of nutrients and energy. If you go really lean, like some people are advocating, you can actually get something called protein poisoning, where you're getting the majority of your energy from protein. When this breaks down, it releases ammonia, which then has to get turned into urea in your liver and excreted in your kidneys. If you overwhelm your liver's ability to turn ammonia into urea, you'll get a buildup of ammonia and you can actually get quite sick. This can cause hair loss, low energy, extreme illness, and even, yes, rapid weight loss because you're very sick. And in some cases, it can even cause death. So when some people are saying that the carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet is making them sick or making their hair fall out, maybe think, how much fat are you eating? Also, because your body has a limited capacity to absorb fat, you need to know how much you're getting. So you want to eat as much fat as you can that your body can absorb, and then a little bit left over so that your stools are soft. So you want to eat fat until your stools are soft, but not loose. And also, if you're drinking things like coffee, tea, artificial sweeteners, even magnesium and some medications, that can actually cause a laxative effect, which can skew your interpretation of how much fat you're getting. Some people also have a problem absorbing rendered fat. So the fat that's cooked out of the meat can sometimes go through their digestive tract too quickly before the bile can get to it, break it down and absorb it, and this can cause loose stools. Unfortunately, this can happen with things like butter as well. While I think butter is great, some people do overdo it, especially early on, and this can cause loose stools. So if you find that happening to you, just pull back on the fat or maybe even the rendered fat and start eating more solid fat in the adipose tissue itself. You can even get fat trimmings from the butcher and fry those up lightly in a pan, put some salt on it, and have a little pile of fat next to your meat if your meat is too lean and you don't tolerate things like butter or rendered fat. And lastly, plants actually are trying to kill you. Anybody who has studied botany can tell you this, and maybe some people who have, maybe leave some comments down below to that effect. Plants have no problem with you dying as long as they get to live. It's kill or be killed out in the wild, and it's survival of the fittest. And if you don't have proper defenses against something trying to eat you, you're going to die. And that's why plants have developed chemical defenses in order to stop and deter animals and insects from eating them. We have categorized, classified, and named nearly 1 million defense chemicals that plants make in order to defend themselves. And this is why out of the 400,000 species of plants in the world that we know of, almost every single one will kill humans. Of the ones left over, some of these are still harmful over time if eaten to a certain extent. But even in low doses, if eaten continually over years, these can cause harm. That's not me saying this. This is according to the WHO, who has an entire website dedicated to natural toxins found in food, where they list all the different plant toxins, mushroom toxins, and algae toxins that can get into our food supply and can cause serious illness, cancer, or even death in both humans and livestock. It's on their website. Google WHO natural toxins found in food. There are things like phytic acid, which is an anti-nutrient which will block out different minerals from being absorbed. There's oxalates in the form of oxalic acid and otherwise that can bind to different nutrients but also turn into crystals in your body and damage organs. The number one cause of kidney stones in humans are oxalate stones, calcium oxalate stones, because the oxalates get in your bloodstream and strip out the calcium from your blood supply, which then has to strip calcium out of your bones in order so your heart doesn't stop. Then there are things like lectins, tannins, saponins, protease inhibitors, and so on that can all cause serious harm. The lectins in beans and legumes can be so toxic that even 5 red kidney beans untreated or uncooked have put people into the hospital according to the WHO. So through technology, cooking, fermenting, and chemical processes, we have been able to turn otherwise toxic plants into more edible versions by lowering the toxic load and increasing bioavailability. And the simple fact that we have to do this means that we are not biologically designed to do it ourselves. So we have not evolved to do this. These are not what is meant for us. And so while we have figured out how to survive on plant-based foods that we're not designed for, it is clear that that is not optimal for us. So anytime you're having a stall or you're not getting the results that you want, think to yourself, are you eating anything except fatty meat and water? If the answer is yes, cut it out and see how you go. The vast majority of people will do great that way. Some people take longer to heal than others, and everyone starts from a different place. But if you eat optimal nutrition, your body will be optimally nourished. And if you avoid toxic elements, your body will be less toxic. It's as simple as that. You can boil down nutrition for all species and all forms of life to this. Eat what you're biologically designed to eat and nothing else, and you'll be fine.